Welcome back to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. The diagnosis of cancer can be devastating. There is an organization in the state to provide emotional and soon financial support. Sean Hebbel is the program director of the Cancer Support Community. Welcome, sir. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Larry.
So what does the Delaware Support Community Center do?
The Cancer Support Community provides emotional support to people with cancer and to their primary emotional caregivers. In 4 different ways. We have weekly support groups for people who are in active treatment. We have 10 or 11 monthly support groups for either site or issue-specific parts of cancer, breast cancer, brain cancer, that kind of thing. We have a wide variety of physical activity programs that include yoga and Tai Chi and mindfulness-based stress reduction. And we do some educational programs, and then of course in January we'll be doing some financial assistance.
So the support community, the fact that you call it the Cancer Support Community, is exactly what you do. I would imagine when someone gets the diagnosis of cancer, first of all, the emotions run wild, I can imagine. But also, because of the state they're in, I'm sure they don't know how to make their way through all of the things they have to do.
Yeah, negotiating the system is really pretty difficult. I mean, I think a lot of times somebody described getting cancer as like you're heading for your Caribbean vacation and you land in Belgium, and you don't know the weather, you don't know, you've got the wrong clothes, you don't know the language, but if you live with it long enough, you learn they got good chocolate.
So it is emotional support, but I would imagine the navigation, because you're in a fog.
Right.
I would imagine most people would be in a fog because, oh my God, what do I do now?
Yeah, even people with really good support systems do report that once they hear the word cancer, they don't hear anything for quite some time. And if they don't have somebody with them, a lot of times they don't even know what to do next.
How long have you been in existence?
The Cancer Support Community in Delaware has been in existence since 1996, although we did 2 or 3 years worth of planning to get to 1996 opening. But the organization that we are a part of, which is a national organization, started in 1982 in Santa Monica, California.
And was it founded by people who were diagnosed with cancer?
It was founded by a guy named Harold Benjamin, who was a lawyer actually, but his wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, and they looked around for support. This was late 70s in California, could not find the level of support that they had hoped to find, and so he started with his own money, bought a little yellow house in Santa Monica, got some staff from the LA Center for Loss and Healing, and started his own support system, which includes the weekly, the monthly, the mind-body, and the educational components that we still have today.
I would imagine one of the problems is that cancer is something people don't want to talk about, or uncomfortable talking about. So when you say to somebody, I have cancer, I'm sorry for you, it's horrible, I'm sure it's good people, but they don't want the conversation to continue.
Well, that's why one of the main psychological issues of people with cancer is isolation, because even with all the family, friends, and faith support, quite frankly, unless you've been in a room with a bunch of people that have heard those words, you have cancer, you can't quite relax. And it's a very interesting phenomenon to be in a group where there's a bunch of folks like that. The humor changes, the way they live their life almost changes sometimes.
And now you're going to be soon able to help people financially?
Well, that's interesting. That's one of the parts of the anxiety of going through the experience is how do I get the money to pay for some of these very expensive treatments? And we're talking people even that are very well insured. So it's not like it's people that are poor or people that are extremely wealthy. We have people that are of fairly decent means that struggle sometimes because some of these medications can be very expensive. And thanks to Insight, we're going to be able to help some of those people.
Explain that, the Insight.
Well, we got an Insight grant for 5 years, and we will be able to, starting in January of 2018, offer some limited financial support to people who have cancer, and depending upon whether it's the financial part of not being able to pay for co-payments or medications, or perhaps some living expenses as well that can't be paid for because they're paying for the other things.
And how do you decide who gets financial support?
It's
what do you give?
A small committee made up of 2 or 3 people with cancer and 2 or 3 people on the Cancer Support Community's board and staff.
You kind of are a go-between in a way.
In that respect, yes. Yeah, and even in the respect of what we do emotionally, yes, it's a go-between.
How is insurance with dealing with cancer in the state? Pretty good?
In the state, well, it depends on the insurance. I mean, certainly, at one time, Delaware was a wonderful state to be in because of the Delaware Delaware Cancer Treatment Program, which anybody who was uninsured in the state would get covered for 2 years. I don't know the status of that any longer, whether that still exists. But if you have relatively decent insurance. Most of your treatment will be covered, but a lot of the very expensive new medications have huge copays, some of them.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you being here. That is the Delaware Way for this week. Go to metv2.com to replay segments from this show or previous shows, and leave your comments about what you've seen on today on our Facebook page, or you can reach me on Twitter at the Delaware Way or at Larry Menti. We may read your thoughts on a future show. I'm Larry Menti. See you again next week.